we wanted to do this webinar. It's an educational series where we want to educate people on what, things to look out for. Um, One of the things I want to just explain is network providers. We're an MSP, and we focus on taking a three-pronged approach to resolving IT issues. And those three things are secure, educate, and protect. As we secure, that just means that we're going to protect you by running software on your machine, your servers, your network to protect you from threats and keep the environment safe. The second prong that we focus on is education. And that's why we're here today. Is education is a huge part of securing your network, keeping you safe. And part of that is that we want to have these webinars where we want to educate the users, the end users, on how to deal with threats. And the last thing we focus on is protect, which is our backup and all of our other tools that we use. So I just want to introduce everyone that'll be, or introduce our presenter here. Sean Newman is our security officer. He's going to present a webinar on human firewalling. And what I'll do is go ahead and turn the time over to him. And when we're done, uh, have plenty of time to do some questions and answers. So if you want to put those questions in the chat, we'll make sure that we try to get those addressed. So I'll turn the time over to you, Newman, if you want to take
Okay.
control. Or
I want to go through this and help you understand why we're doing this because really ultimately one of the topics that we talked about in doing these series is the human firewall. Why does the user play such a role in this impact for systems? Well, it's because a highly trained end user can actually guard against stuff that the firewalls might not be able to pick up or the email filtering might not grab. The human firewall is another line of defense. So, in that, the technology can't really stop every cyber threat. But again, like the user, the human firewall can often be one of your best line of defenses, especially the alerting, because somebody might be in the system, they see their mouse moving, and they report it because they've been trained to do that. At network providers, we take security very seriously, compliance just as serious. And ultimately, we have seen that what happens when a user with no training and they receive a phishing email, they click on it and they enter the credentials. And a lot of times they wait for days before saying anything because they feel guilty or they're going to lose their job. And training can help provide the human firewall to remove that fear because we need to know right away it happens to everybody. Sometimes they say nothing until it's investigated and then it shows they did it and it's already affected the company. We're going to find out who it was through the investigation. Why are people targeted? What is a human firewall? And common threats. These are all things that we want to cover, as well as who and how and who to report to. I mean, you never quite know until the training is done. And that's where we want to do because the human nature, the people targeted, that's why they're targeted. They want the untrained people. They want the people to just click without pausing and looking at everything. They also want to find unpatched systems, lazy administrators, weak passwords in the system. The problem is that human nature can play a very critical role in infections and bad actors getting into the system by the fact that they haven't been trained to learn what to do. And that's the most important part of this solution. Ultimately, cybersecurity and info security, I want to cover both, is everyone's job. Most breaches start with human error. That's in the 90 to 95 percentile based upon who you actually interview and look at. The attackers target people, not systems. They want the non trained, they want the email threats that can cause their emotions to go haywire. They also want info. You know, here's the big one that I get with the system. They have all the time in the world. So they can actually go out to social media and internet and do searches and gather that information about their personal lives from there. All they need is one username and one password to bypass even the tightest controls. They can provide a payload onto the email to get their credentials, things like that. So, what is a human firewall? It's a trained user on cyber and info security. This human firewall can be one of your best line of defenses. They can recognize cyber threats. If your training is that good, then they've got the information in place to do that. They can respond appropriately and immediately to the chain of command that they've been trained to report to. They report any suspicious activity immediately. We're talking mouse movement, system slow. I keep loading these windows and they disappear. There's a lot of telltale signs that come through that. And that's why the training is so important for these human firewalls. So, what is the difference between a physical firewall and a human firewall? Well, we all know that physical firewalls block known threats, they are automated, and even that automation has limited context. They can only do what we have them programmed to do. Human firewall, on the other hand, has quite a bit more going with it. We're talking being able to detect new threats through training and learned policies and processes, judgment based, and real world awareness, where they can, with constant training and updated policies, they can provide a structured framework to alert and secure the system. It'd be great if all spam and phishing filters covered everything 100%, but they don't. And that's where the human firewall can really help. This is all about getting them trained. Untrained human firewalls cannot guard against this very complicated social engineering life cycle. The life cycle exists of four areas: investigation, hook, play, and exit. The biggest thing is they're going to identify the victims, gather background info, and with the background info, talking about Facebook and other things, they can select their attack methods to know how they are. It's really quite amazing how this process all ties in and how much money and time is spent on these bad actors to learn all this human behavior. And ultimately, this is all in play constantly, all the time with our systems. It's very frustrating for the IT folks to get a handle on this. But through training, we can do this. Through your security stack, through your processes, your policies. These are all defined for a reason, so we can do this. So, what I want to look at more is a simplified method for the end user, the human firewall. They can't really understand all of that life cycle and what it does. What they do understand is a very quick and precise training on what happens. The attacker sends you an email. You're the victim. You actually go to their website by clicking the link and you enter credentials. Now they have the ability to get information. If you have a website, they would love to actually redirect all of your credit card payments to them. These are all things that happens. And the users, they might not have had the training IT and MSP have had, but a simple training like this can go a long way in the protection of your system with these human firewalls. And ultimately, the thing is they might even fall under regulations. So include that in the training, the cyber and info security training, to adhere to the regulations like HIPAA, ISO, CMMC, things like that they need to understand. Now, ultimately, like Jay said, we have a statement that we've lived by this whole time, and it's secure, educate, and protect. We take all of this. I just love this drawing and the information that's provided. Ultimately, to secure, we need to audit and set up processes and policies within the system. Educate, we train the human firewalls on what to look for, who to notify, when to notify us versus management. These are all important tasks that we have to do. And a lot of them are governed by regulations. So the other process is protect. Invoke our security stack of products that we use every day to protect the system. Alert us that things are going on. Developing policies and procedures is critical to any business. Getting compliant with the regulations you're faced with is even more important. Regulations and are really they're developed and updated yearly to help protect your system and educate employees. If you do not have regulations to adhere to, would you really secure your system and find it a priority? I don't think so. That that's why they do it. They're not doing it to cost money and other things. They're doing it because if they didn't set these in place, would people really do this to their systems? If they're running their business today and everything's going great and they've never been bitten by a hack or anything like that, they probably don't feel that it's an importance. Well, it is an importance because it's not if, it's when these things happen. And a highly trained human firewall can help you with this. Cybersecurity is IT's problem. We hear that a lot, a lot. I don't know. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I'd probably be buying more than a Corvette. I'd be buying a heck of a lot better car. So, although I love my Corvette, cybersecurity is not just an IT department's problem. 80 to 90% of successful breaches start with the human firewall. It doesn't start with the IT firewall, it starts with the human firewall. Attackers target people, not systems. One click can bypass millions of dollars in security tools. It's a fact. And this is where training is so critical for the system. How attackers target people. Urgency. This is my only math problem because I hated math all through school. Urgency and authority and fear equal high risk. That math problem everybody can wrap their heads around. Phishing, smishing, vishing, fake login pages, malicious attachments, whaling, all of these tie into the fact that they're going to try everything possible to get into your system. The urgency side, let's talk about that. They'll hold up shipment if we do not get this thing within the hour. Urgent, we got to get this payment. Your account will be closed if you don't send us the money, the wire transfer. Authority, your CEO needs payment now. Your CFO wants you to buy gift cards and send them to Newman. I, I, I'll give the email address out afterwards so we can do that. Then you look at fear. Fear is you and I will lose our jobs. They'll blackmail things. We know where you live. This and this and this has happened. We need payment now. This is where things get really serious because fear is a very important piece of this. Curiosity is another one where we did not receive the payment, your promotion. We just need a little bit of info for HR to process promotion and get you on the way to providing you more money. We just need your social security number, all that, because HR doesn't have it, right? They didn't do your insurance and all that. So there's a lot of tricky ways they try to do stuff. And it's amazing how many people fall for this. Phishing, definitely the number one threat for the human firewall. Typical signs would be unexpected sender. All of a sudden, you get this person out of the blue that you've never emailed with. Urgent language, requests for your password or MFA codes. Look, I've got your password. I can't get into the system to get your system fixed. There's things like that. I'm with IT. They provide that. They also provide suspicious links or attachments in the email. That's a whole nother process that we want to cover. I'll give an example real quick of why you need to pause and look at things. You always pause before you click. Some areas that I pointed out. Number one, who has remind e at irsm.com? IRS is only going to work out of a .gov. That's it. There's no other way. irs.gov. And then not only that, but they make it enticing for you to click on the link by conveniently giving you a setup link to provide payment, to provide your payment information so that they can get it to your bank account real quick. No, if you hover the link, you're going to see that it's going to the UK. I don't quite remember the IRS branching out to other countries to set up offices, but they obviously think so. This is just one example of thousands we could provide. And so, with that, what is every human firewall to do? Well, this is the process right here. 4 simple steps. Pause before clicking, inspect the sender details and links, verify unexpected requests, and suspicious activity reported immediately. Now, if you don't have policies and procedures set up, how does the user know if they haven't been trained on them? This is where regulations really come into a good part of this in securing the system, because you want to pause and look at all the information that's there. You want to right click or hover over the email links and see where they're going, what they're doing, like we showed in the process. Ultimately, you follow this life cycle of an email and you'll be a lot safer. This is why the human firewall needs to know this. Real world impact of a one click. Oh, I just clicked once and added the credentials. They're not going to find anything. No, they're able to get into your system, ransom, encrypt the files, data breaches, expose personal info. And boy, if they get accounting or medical, it's like icing on the cake. A lot of times business operations shut down. Some businesses do not even recover because they can't last the process of what happens, either cybersecurity insurance, things like that. Then you also have the lawsuits and reputation damage just off of one click and some credentials added. So what happens when you don't report the click? Well, you give the bad actor all the time in the world to collect the info, look for other weaknesses in the environment, attack your servers, attack your server hosts, target the company with other phishing emails to try and get the accountant or other higher up targets. They also want to grab your website and conveniently redirect the payments. Most cases with this, you will not even know they're in, and they could be in 2 weeks up to a couple of months in your system getting all the data they want before they actually invoke the ransom. So it's not just an overnight thing. And this is why it's so important to keep the human firewalls in place. So when in doubt, I always tell the human firewalls, report it. Suspicious emails, unexpected login prompts that you got, MFA requests that aren't going, system behavior, mouse moving around, windows disappearing, systems really slow all of a sudden. Early detection can stop the attacks. It also helps protect coworkers that might be phished as well, and improves the company defenses. All in place with this. So daily security best practices, I just added a few to show you strong, unique passwords, covering 14 characters with special characters, numeric, and letters can be up to 2 years to crack. Never share credentials. Enable and approve MFA carefully. Always enable MFA anywhere you can. Lock your screen when you're away. 10 minutes is a good timeout for locking the screen and protect the system, because social engineering is not just based on email. It could be people walking in and grabbing your system to look at things while you're logged in. Keeping the devices updated. Always be cautious on public Wi-Fi. Never use public Wi-Fi without a VPN. Don't even go to your hotel without a VPN. These are all things that I've learned throughout the system. So helping the human firewall, let's talk about that because we have another math problem and we're going to be providing homework there. Training plus solid IT practices plus security stack equals proactive risk management. Proactive. There you go. Said it right. So the thing is, with strong cyber and info security training, the human firewalls are the most effective. IT departments that follow and update policies and procedures to protect against the threat landscape, now you're providing even more proactive response. You might have seen a security bulletin or something updated. Okay, now we need to update our policy to reflect those new changes. The security stack that you use should be able to include a SOC, compliance manager, a SIEM, AI log reviews, DMARC, DKIM, and SPF are huge protections for your domain and your email system. You should have those done. It's critical. Email scanning, identity management, EDR, MDR within the workstations, SaaS, security as a service, backup and disaster recovery, and including table talk exercises. This is a little awkward at the first, but you'll find that you're faster at providing responses to emergency situations that can come up within the environment. It's all about preparedness. These are key things that we want people to realize. So, some takeaways today on this: attackers target people first. One click can cause major damage. Training and awareness stops attacks. Reporting protects everyone. That is the key to this whole system and what we're trying to provide. We do quite a heavy cybersecurity training, and it conforms to all regulations. It's based upon NIST and things like that. We provide this for a lot of systems and a lot of companies within the U.S. So we're very aware of the threat landscape and what we need to do to it. So, in questions and closing, how can network providers help you? How quick can we do a cybersecurity training? And does this training count towards our compliance efforts? All above is yes. We do all of this as well as a company. We have not only managed IT, but we actually have a division that deals with nothing but security and the process and procedures for those. So again, I thank you, and let's go ahead and I'll stop the sharing, and we'll get back to Jay.
Well, thanks. Thanks, Newman. Yeah, I think a big part of what we do is, like I say, a three-pronged approach. And if you can see in the picture behind me, I've got actually a trident because I wanted to illustrate what we really do for our clients. And like I say, that three-pronged approach is you have to really focus on those three because we spend a lot of time on, spending, setting up software to maintain your computers, your server, your environment. But educating is such a big part of that as well because the end user, like Newman's saying, they could be one click away from, causing a problem. Because our software will to watch and monitor things, but the hackers are after the end user, and there's a lot of different ways to attack them. Now you're seeing a lot of things on your phone. You're seeing things not only in your email, but all over the place. So again, we want to focus on educating the end user so that they don't become an attack vector. And that way we do that through tech tips. And if you're not getting our tech tips, weekly tech tips,
Okay.
please if you want to give us your information, we would be more than happy to enroll you in that. And we will send you emails weekly, free of charge. We also we have a newsletter that we periodically publish. I've written a book on cybersecurity and AI and how that they're starting to work together so that the attack attackers are actually moving faster and all the things that they're able to do. Um, Webinars like this, where we want to, just bring you up to aware of what's going on, what you can do. That's what we do as a company. We've been in business 25 years, and we do. Uh, our goal is to protect you as our clients and to make sure that you know, they have business continuity, that they can operate and not have problems. So happy to have had this webinar and each of you today, and we'll hope to look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thank you.